Hello, hi. Thank you for organizing this. Such a wonderful work you're doing. Thank
Thank
you.
you, sir. Thank you. Thanks for accepting our inviting and part of our live today.
Always open to make a difference. Thanks.
Thanks, sir. Sir, whenever I see your video, it's so fresh and it's so clean, and it has got a lot of clarity. It's there right since your training career, or it is just your nature behavior.
I would say both because everybody from my family is either into teaching or preaching. But I wanted to take a different road for me. I want to be able to mingle with the normal people. Practical insights is what I wanted to share, and I
Okay.
always wanted to be a little bit away from the theoretical aspect because when you're communicating something in a video, after that there has to be some kind of an impact. So we normally say in communication program, begin with the end in mind, right? So it's like I ask myself, somebody is watching my video, they watched it. After watching the video, if somebody asks them, what did you understand from the video, what would they actually say? So I'll put that bullet points first, and then I'll craft the story around that. So that's how you go about it.
Sir, I like your video personally, sir. I watched almost 90% of the video and your lives and your shows. Sir, you say you have 15 plus years of experience and training, right? Can you share your journey, so where it started and where it triggered that you wanted to be part of the training career?
See, from the childhood onwards, I've been volunteering myself for multiple things and all that. But the real flair for training and development started when I was in my college.
Okay.
I'm a very proud MCCN is what I could say. MCC is where I found that training is my core and all that. During
Okay.
second year of my college, I started to do volunteering for a training and development organization.
Okay.
So during weekends, I used to go as a speaker. I used to address different gatherings as a trainer. So there was an opportunity given from the company. So I found myself, I realized that training is not just about being there on stage and giving a talk. It's about really making an impact. The kind of people they come and tell you after going through a transformation from a training program was totally different. So I started volunteering for that particular organization called People First. So that's where I started to, I really groomed myself as a trainer, coach, speaker, and all that. And then post that, the same company offered me a job to work with them to lead their Chennai's division. That was a youth organization. So I started
Okay.
leading their Chennai division. Then I had an exposure into Bangalore and Pune and all that. So from there, slowly the training journey started. Post that, I realized as a profile, as a speaker, as a trainer, as a coach, your profile matters. Some
Okay.
people would still, a book is not judged by a cover, but sometimes cover also matters. So you need to build your profile as well. So I realized I want to take a small break. I wanted to, nobody should ask me என்ன படிச்சிருக்கீங்க. So I felt I wanted to upgrade my profile. I did my MBA, MSc in psychology, MPhil in management. Now my PhD work is in progress. So all this parallelly was doing. Then I could not find myself resting in college. So one fine day, from the corporate training background, coming back, just being a normal student in MBA college, I couldn't digest that fact. Excuse. Then what we thought is I started doing freelance training. I used to every weekend I used to take up assignments for some insurance companies or some marketing companies. I used to train their people as well. Plus, we
Okay.
also started an NGO. It's called Save the Globe. It was started in the year 2008. So now we've
Okay.
crossed 10 plus years. So the whole
Okay.
purpose of the NGO was we want to do training through social work.
Okay.
So that was the idea. We were visiting a lot of rural schools, and we were guiding people on how to plan their career and all. Career guidance training is what we were doing. Then along the way, I played multiple roles like marketing, accounting, recruiting, multiple stuff. So that's how the journey came through till this
Okay,
point.
sir. It's almost 15 plus years, sir. You've been into different industry. You've been a freelancer. You've worked in a company. What was your favorite part, and which particular domain or which particular year which you liked it?
I kind of say I'm a very choosy guy. Whatever I buy, I ensure I buy I test out multiple things, and I only take a decision. So when I turn back, absolutely there are no regrets. And if I ask to cut out the favorite part, there is a favorite part in every job that I performed. So
Okay.
somehow there is favorite part in every job that I performed. Sometimes there are days where I was little confused. Why am I even doing this marketing? Why am I even doing this recruitment? But now when I look back, that's how God designs everybody's life, is what I very strongly believe in. Steve Jobs put this wonderfully. He says connecting the dots. So when I turn back, all the dots in my life are connected so well. Now I'm doing sales coaching. Now I'm teaching entrepreneurs how to do accounting for their business, how to look at a profitable, how to look at a practical P&L for their business. So every role that I played contributed something for me, in which right now I'm able to reflect back on that.
Every trainer has got this attitude. So they want to learn initially a lot, and then they want to give back of whatever they learned.
Yes, true.
Sir, what is your experience with TEDx?
TEDx happened much early. I think about between 2008 to 10, approximately 10 or 12 is what. At least it's more than 8 to 10 years back is when my first TEDx actually happened. So that was an invite looking at the NGO work that we were doing. We were very aggressively visiting a lot of institutions, without any charges. We were giving, leadership training, career guidance talk to different people. So my TEDx talk happened in Coimbatore at Taj Hotel. It was a very good experience, I must say. Still, people say, "Oh, your TEDx, okay, your video is there and all that." But my topic was, I was so happy that I spoke on that particular topic, because even after TEDx, there's been a lot of invites from different people to talk and all that. The topic that I chose was purposeful living.
Okay.
I couldn't digest the fact that a company like Schneider would call me for a talk to talk on purpose, not on corporate training or anything. They said, "Could you just talk about purpose of life? We will bring all the GCC, they call it Gulf country, all the GCC people, employees, the leaders were on board for that one particular online webinar we did about 3 years back. So the impact is still there."
Okay. I think for any speaker or any trainer, TEDx is one particular program that they all want to be part of it. I think that is a proud moment for any trainer or any speaker for that matter. Hope you enjoyed as well.
True, but again, that being said, but I would also like to add that never ever try to measure your success, because that will just become a number kind of a game. Because I always say the very thing that why some people are not successful trainers and why some people are not very successful trainers, the basic difference is this: the focus is on me versus the focus is on audience. So yes, obviously when I become a TEDx speaker, the focus is more on me, then I get popular. All that will be there for every single human being. But trust me, there are wonderful speakers. They are still not yet TEDx speakers or not even TED speakers. But I pray that they all need to come into the limelight. So a lot of people are there. We just have to look out, is what I'd say. And I would definitely recommend, if there are trainers, coaches, consultants watching this, never ever benchmark your success with that, because your capacity and capabilities should be like something much more totally different. Play at your potential is what I would like to tell to people.
Thanks, sir. That's a great input. How do you differentiate the trainers, coach, and consultant?
Well, so I always put it to my client, when they work with us, they try to get all 3-in-1 flavor from us, is what I used to say. See, coach is, putting it short and simple, coach is someone who will help you to go where you wanted to go.
Okay.
So coach will not guide you, they'll not counsel you, they'll not push their suggestions on you. It's trying to ask all kinds of questions and getting the answers from you itself and helping you to navigate. Is this really what you want to do? If you take this choice, this is the consequence. If you take this choice, this is going to be a consequence. And you may have to go through all this journey. Are you okay with this? Helping people to decide as to what they want and enabling them and empowering them to go to the goal is what a coach would do. Trainer, again, is coaching mostly is done as one-to-one kind of a basis. Training is when you have a concept, you give it to them, and a lot of people are able to consume your data at once, and they're able to transform by your data as well. But the challenge is, sometimes you could be over and above their head, they'll not understand. But if you could really present it in a way that operating from their point of view is what I'd like to say. It all happened to all of us, right? When you crack a joke, you are laughing so much, but nobody else is laughing. It's because it didn't make sense in their world. So as a trainer, you need to be able to make a lot of sense in their world. So one is to many impact happens. And consultant is someone, you need to know the trade. Like if I'm consulting a B2B person or a textile person or a builder, I need to know the trade. I need to know the nuances of, nooks and corners of nuts and bolts of this particular trade, and be able to give them innovative ideas. This is what your competitors are doing, this is what you're doing. I think your USP is this is not going to make sense after 10 years. You need to have a plan in place to make money today, tomorrow, day after tomorrow, and even after 5 years. So strategy, people, operations, that's kind of work you need to be doing at a consultant level.
Okay, sir. Why do your focus started with sales, and what made you to put a lot of interest and a lot of training towards sales?
I've been addressing a lot of topics, but sales, many topics are there because I feel this is like, if you know how to sell, you can live. Because I always tell people, sales is the
Morning
only
for starters.
activity that will knock the door and make the money come inside your company.
Okay,
So
okay.
as an organization, if people are able to sell well, then even the non-revenue centric, non-revenue generating department also can be surviving or can be taken care really well.
So should I consider that that is your favorite topic, or anything else is there apart from sales?
My favorite topic any time of the day is leadership. Because
Okay.
even no matter what, how many people I spoke to, people do not perceive leadership, but leadership the way I want them to perceive. Like I said, I always operate from a practical approach. Keeping it short, simple, in a nutshell, I tell people leadership is all about responsibility. One word, dot, simple. When I mean responsibility, some people think if you give me responsibility, I finish, I'm a leader. No. If you give me responsibility, I finish that. And if I take more responsibility, that's what a real leader is. Leadership is not waiting for the promotion and then taking the action. It's taking the action first, and then automatically you're going to get promoted. So if this single one concept, if everybody in an organization are able to think leadership this way, the whole company can get transformed. So any day, my first topic, whatever consulting, how much ever they pay, I would always tell, I will orient your team on leadership. Then we'll talk about other topics. If you don't want me to talk about this, I'm sorry, I cannot take this assignment, because I want people to know what it means to take up responsibility, and what it means not to blame, and what it means to work without others appreciating me, and being loyal to self, and being open to accountability at a team level. I know I've spoken two different words, but this will help organization to implement a kind of a organization culture. A smooth working environment will be there, because next to home, your favorite and safe position place is office. And if you
Okay.
don't like people over there, and if you don't trust people over there, and if you're not able to enjoy the work over there, we can only talk about growth, but it will not happen.
Okay. Sir, you wanted to start your induction or any first training that you get into organization is always leadership. What would you suggest for trainers who are getting into an organization for the first time, or a consultant or a coach? Which topic do you suggest them? Is it based out of their interest or any particular structure they need to follow?
No, but again, when it comes to training and coaching, see, when you reach a particular level, you could say, you know what, I'll fulfill your commitment, but this is what I would like to touch upon, then I'll come to your topic. So when you reach that particular level of demanding with clients, you could do that. But initial days, what I would suggest is go, concept is simple. I may be putting it the harsh way, but this is the best way to put it. Give monkey the banana, simple. If you give 2 rupees, if you give 2 rupees banana, the monkey is super duper happy. But you don't. You're trying to be a nice guy. You know what? I'll give you apple. I'll give you orange. I'll give you pomegranate. No, no, no. Just the banana will do the magic. So what the client requirement is, the client would already be very clear on the requirement. So just go ahead with the requirement, because training is not about giving what you have. Sometimes
Okay.
people get carried away by somehow I want to tell that joke. Somehow you want to tell that story. You'll be lost. They'll not call you again. You need to be able to be very clear. I would like to say fixed on the outcome, flexible on the intention. What you want to convey, be fixed. How you want to convey, be very flexible on that. So therefore, client at any point in time should feel that this person is solving our requirement. So some of the easy topics are there, but again, it all depends on what the client wants. Sometimes client would even come and tell you, you know what, just forget all the hardcore stuff. I just want my people. These guys are being stressed out. We've had tough time. We've had heavy production. I want these people to just enjoy the day. Just do a lot of games, do a debrief, and that's fine. And you don't have to try to be I'm very nice guy. I cannot do a game and get 20-30,000 per day. Not possible. I somehow want to add value. If that's what the client wants, do that religiously. Do that wholeheartedly. Fair enough.
Sir, what are the basic qualities for a trainer to be? If at all I want to pursue a training as career for an youngster, or even for some of the experienced who wanted to shift their domain from their sales or any other department to training, what are the basic criteria or quality that you would expect from them?
Multiple qualities. First quality I would say is just walk your talk. Because if your personal life is a mess, because people watch you, they watch your Facebook, they watch your LinkedIn, they watch your Instagram, all of that. Now your personal life is not really intact, then you'll not be able to really throw that light.
Yeah.
You need to be able to shine people and inspire people, because training should be at an inspiration level, not at a motivation level. I don't even
Okay.
like calling myself as a motivation speaker, but sadly only when I use that term some people understand what I do. Because
Yeah.
I tell myself I'm not into motivation, I'm into inspiration. Because inspiration is when people hear or watch you, or they listen to you, they want to take action. So the keyword here is action. So any training that you do, you need to be able to end up with some kind of an action. Because the reason I got into coaching is because training market is already kind of saturated. People come and ask you, James, so and so person, if you give training for my company, how will I know your training has made a difference? Before the corporate people can have a tool to track your training, you invent your own tool and say, this is how you measure my training, you do it this way. Or sometimes I try to take a different approach. I tell them, you give me your KPI and you tell me from where people have to move to what level, and let me tell you what module you need for this. And when you talk at that level, people take you very seriously as well. And then obviously communication, just get the point out. Don't try to use, it's not about the depth of the words and how many words you use. Just get the point across. Even at the same room, you might be having the CEO, and also you might be having a fresher who joined last week. You need to be able to make sense to both. So the kind of jokes that you crack, the stories that you share, should be able to make sense to both the sides, and very subtly you need to be able to put it. And again, fun. I would like to say there is something called comfortable emotions and non-comfortable emotions. See,
Okay.
certain emotions are very automatic for us. See, for me, if you look at me, inspiration, aggression is very, very totally comfortable for me. Naturally, I can give an aggressive talk, one full fire, full energy talk I can give. But cracking a joke, making people laugh, connecting with them sentimentally, emotionally was not good for me. But then I
Okay.
had to literally practice myself, really work on that, and then I built myself. So as a speaker, you find out what are your most comfortable emotions and what are your non-comfortable emotions, and you need to be able to kind of reinvent yourself, trying to focus on those emotions. Because there are certain programs where we talk about, tell your mom and dad you love them, express gratitude. We used to have a module like that. I've watched my own recording, that was like too bad. I'm like, go tell your mom you love, tell your dad you love your dad. When is the last time? I'm like pushing aggressiveness on an emotional content. So
Okay.
then I mastered myself. There are days my friends would call, James, when you give that talk, we have tears in the eyes. That's when I realized as a trainer, it's a feedback to me that I'm hitting that state. Because it's like the movie thing, no, certain things come in a movie, everybody feels the same. It's either the sentimental stuff or the funny stuff. Why that feeling comes is because the words and the body language matches. So you need
Okay.
to, as a trainer, you need to be able to shift your body language immediately and use the right kind of words. Some heroes will crack a lot of jokes, but their body language don't support, so the jokes become totally flop. Some trainers, even less words, absolute body language, the joke lands. So it's about, we call it as landing. So if you're able to land that particular content along with the emotion, nobody can beat you. You're awesome. It's like addiction. When people listen to that kind of a talk from you, they only want you. Even if it's 100th time, they will say, bring me that particular person, I want to listen from them.
It's nice communication, impact level, and responsibility, holding the audience. A lot of inputs and criteria and qualification that you set for a trainer. So there are a lot of people, be it a trainer or a consultant, they're trying to bring up a lot of topics put together for one company. Is it good to work on one particular topic and become an expert towards it, or it is okay that I'm a trainer that I can handle multi number of topics? It depends on the organization. I'm ready to get into the picture. Which one do you suggest to people?
See, both is a different strategy. At this moment, I cannot say this is what is good, this is what is good, because it's you need to know what is your bandwidth or the
Okay.
wavelength, or till
Okay.
what extent you can go on. Like I had to place my foot on multiple topics because somehow I must say I thank God for putting me into that particular journey so that I'm able to connect the dots. And it's
Okay.
also because I got a client and I want to add value to this client, and this client tells, could you do this in your flavor?
Okay.
It's like having your favorite restaurant, right? Training is like, I look at training and coaching like biryani, right? You get biryanis everywhere, but there's some biryani from that particular hotel, something about it you so badly love it, and that's how you build your own audience.
Very
And
special.
then
Yeah.
people say, I
Yeah.
love your biryani, but I don't want to go there for grilled chicken. Could you just give it in your style? And
Correct.
if you once you hit that particular level, I recommend, there's no harm in expanding to that, but never ever miss that your biryani is your hardcore. It's like Krishna sweets, you take the Mysore pa is their hardcore, and then they
Yeah.
have the add-ons. So as a trainer, you need to know this is my hardcore, and then I have my add-ons. So that would be a good way to balance.
Okay. The one thing which I admired in your promotions or your activities, the way that you deliver things, you always have James beneath the first. You never carry an organization. Is it good to promote as an individual, or promoting the entire organization, or naming it as a brand and then promoting, or working only for you and then getting the promotion in the next level? Generally, Tony Robbins has got this style, and people like you. And what makes you to do this choices?
That's a good question. Thank you for putting that out. I would definitely recommend having a separate brand and only pitch that brand out as a training organization. That's
Okay.
You need to ask yourself what is going to be a working model.
Okay.
Okay, like earlier I've also tried this, having staff and working this kind of a model where it's like you have a ABC private limited company, and at the same day 4 5 clients will have programs with you. You will go for
Okay.
some of the programs. For the other programs you will send your training team members, and for few more
Okay.
clients, when you don't have a bandwidth, you'll hire what we call it as freelancers. So when
Yeah.
you're trying to do that game, branding matters. So to
Yeah.
play the corporate game, brand matters. Just give me the program, my guys will take care. So you have 40 50 people, you tie up with them and you send people. So if you're looking at that model, it works. But again, there are
Okay.
pluses and minus. Your trainer might go there and crack a deal directly with them. Some people will have a sort proper ethics. No, whatever it is, you want me to come back again, route it through that particular company. So this is plus and minus. The other way is when you're very clear, this is my niche and I am too good in doing this and I would like to do it myself, you can build it on. But again, the scalability is limited. Like if 10
Okay.
people call me to do sessions in 5 days, obviously I cannot travel all over the place. I need to be able to build a team, and I need to be able to send my team. So it's how you're going to operate matters. But I chose that I will not physically visit and do everything. I want to launch courses, I want to do it in that way, because people say even if you send another person, I want you. So there are certain clients who are telling me that. I'm also building a separate brand where we'll be engaging a lot of other trainers, give them opportunities. This is another project that we are working on. But as of now, what's your breadwinner has to be a breadwinner. So I'm picking this model where since I'm going digital, the scalability works that way. So depends on what is your roadmap, what is your pathway, it happens. But again, if you look at John Maxwell and all, he still does the same. It's like he's built his
Yeah.
brand. And again, they say, John Maxwell certified trainers he's creating. But again, you need to be at that level, kind of, you need to be able to dominate with learning, with content. If you're able to do that kind of a branding of yourself, it's good, but it's very, very tough. It's very, very difficult. Initially, till you reach maybe about 10,000, 1 lakh followers, it's going to be a very, very tough time. And then it'll just zip, zap, zoom is what I have to say.
Okay. Uh, Sir, you got to tell about your book, 100x Business Growth, and what made you to write a book, and why it is on 100x.
Right. So I'm always a numbers guy. So that's the first thing that I teach entrepreneurs. I tell them, if you want to grow your business, just work on your numbers. My favorite story when I tell my entrepreneurs is somebody starts a business in 10 lakhs, monthly 1 lakh expense, 10 months, the business is gone. I mean, money will get over. If 10 lakh investment, 1 lakh expense monthly, and 50,000 monthly income, 20 months, then the capital is over. And what happens if you put in 10 lakhs and the income is fluctuating, expenses fluctuating, 10 lakhs is gone, you borrow another 5 lakhs? Kind of confusing, right? So most of the entrepreneurs in that state. So I tell entrepreneurs, just work on your numbers. If you're able to control, have a grip and control of numbers, everything will be good. So when I started to write the book, I realized that, I want to name this book in some kind of a numbers. So I wrote down a huge list of things that entrepreneurs should do to be able to be successful. And like I decided, I told to myself, this is not going to be my first and only book. This is going to be a first book, but I want to write a book probably every year. I want to release a book, is what I told to myself. And then I realized this should not be like a self-advertising kind of a book where just within 10 months or 3 months, 4 months, put some stuff inside and make a content. There are a lot of techniques. You can interview people and make a book. There's something called ghost writing. You can hire a ghostwriter and you can just call him and tell him a concept, or you can give him 10 minutes lecture and he'll make a 2-3 chapters out of that. So I decided this is not going to be of that sort. This is going to be like hardcore real stuff, what's happening in the business.
Okay.
There are some golden days of my life where even the money was too less. I just loved every bit of it. There was a time in my career where I did business coaching for entrepreneurs, collecting just 2,500 rupees per month.
Okay.
My favorite days. It's like every day I'll have 2 to 3 companies I'll be visiting. I'll be doing a pakka business study of their company and doing a business analysis. So how much you've sold, who's your top performer, and which is selling well, which is not selling well. For people, it's like great value they're getting just for 2,500. But I started that because that's like more like a subscription business. So if
Okay.
I'm able to cater to 30 to 40 clients properly, my monthly income is kind of set because I'm doing a research. So I decided it's like a research for my PhD kind of stuff, but I'm going to fund my own research. So I'm going to fund it through this kind of a subscription model. So I selected handpicked companies to work with me. But again, God's grace, now if we had to do consulting for companies, there are companies who are in waitlist, but the cost we say is you have to pay 1 lakh everything in advance, only then we'll visit your office.
Okay.
But I thank God for this because the journey that was so helpful. 30, 40 companies, when we started studying, we literally started understanding every single business. You talk about jewelry, we've studied them. You talk about jewelry manufacturer, jewelry diamond site holder, jewelry B2B, talk about automobile, talk about architect, hospital, hospitality, event management, tool and die, casting, steel manufacturer, event handling people, multiple types of companies, automobile, like I said already, and plastic molding, salons, beauty salons, individual consultants, logistics companies, multiple companies, interiors, architects, structural engineers, multiple companies. When we were able to study, that gave us a lot of learning. So I was able to understand this is why a company is growing and this is why a company is not growing. And meanwhile, I must say again, thank to God, because as I was working in this project, I was also doing some corporate work. Like there are this 1,000 crore, 300 crore corporates who will hire you for few projects pan India or within the particular state. So I was able to understand and compare and do a study. For example, how an orientation is done. In a normal 5-member team, when somebody comes for a day one job, the typical welcome is, hi, hello, come, welcome, you're appointed. This is your work, observe today, gone. But what happens in a corporate is wonderful orientation, 48 bullet points they have. The MD's message will be played, vision is explained, KPI is explained, HR manual is given. So I asked myself, what if a normal 10-member team is able to implement all these things? So the whole book is like that. So many people ask me, is the book available in local language and all that? I tell them, simple English, just follow it. It's not like a reading. It's more like, I would say, 100 things you have to do. It's more like a DIY, do it yourself. You read one point and then you implement in your business and you'll see growth. Again, some people asked me, because I have my close clients who will read my book and give me feedback. Some of them even asked me, James, you've told everything in the book. Why would people come to you for consulting? Everything has been given. I said, this is my strategy. I want to do it this way because I don't want to say, if you want more, come to me. This is 100 points. Follow it and grow. If you want to know much more deeper and practical implementation of this, probably you can come into our coaching system, is what we say.
When you analyze a lot of companies for your book writing or your understanding for this business, which was your easiest company, which was your toughest company to work with or to industry to learn about?
I couldn't find easy industry, tough industry, but because every industry had its own challenges. We call it as pain points. You name
Okay.
any industry, I'll tell you what pains they are going through. So I was able to understand why is it so painful, because it's like you take a construction guy, for example. Everybody thinks these construction people are making margins, but when you go deep inside, it's like how many nines are there from 1 to 100? Can you give me a quick guess? How many nines between 1 to 100?
90 till 90, there's 10. No, I have no clue. 97 or something. I had this game before, I forgot it.
Right. So 9, 1929. Then what about the 1991, 92,
Yeah,
93?
yeah. Right.
So again, thanks for being cheerfully accepting this challenge. The point here is when you go inside and you see builder is having so much of expenses. Above all that, if he's making profits, it's a huge challenge for him. So I
Yeah.
was able to study the pain points for every people, and in fact, I wrote this book because that's more like a stress buster. Because I'm a psychologist as well, so I know when you understand problem of every single entrepreneur and company, you try to bring it on upon you. Because
Okay.
when you understand, okay, this guy is in loss, man, that hits you actually. When somebody is in success, that also overwhelms you. So I literally wanted to relax and cool down, and this book was also more like an exercise where I wanted to, it's an activity of letting go of things from me as well. So psychological activity is what I could say.
Okay. Based out of your understanding and your experience overall in this L&D, do you think any specific industry which need to really have L&D as a specific department, or they have to have an external partner? Which industry do you suggest?
I must say every industry, because as of now, only this corporate guys who are so well organized, only they have this L&D department. But I
Okay.
must say every single organization needs to have an L&D department. And if it's a small company, the business owner should be probably playing the role of an L&D manager. And if you ask the small companies, I'm saying the SME kind of a companies, if you ask 10 companies, at least 7 to 8 of them, at least from my background, 7 to 8 of them either they don't know what is skill matrix or they have not done it for their company. So if when you do the skill matrix, you understand, man, I need training. So I would like to say it's about 60 to 40. 60% needs to be your technical hardcore stuff, and 40% needs to be your behavioral and soft skills and all that. So if
Okay.
everybody can have the skill matrix, even if a company who's running a crusher company or having a quarry for them, or even a hospital, or even an interior person, or someone, an AC mechanic also can be put into this particular skill matrix. Level 1 AC mechanic is someone who's able to change the filter and wash it. Level 2 mechanic is someone who's able to totally replace a particular chip board or something. Level 3 mechanic is someone who's able to create another level 2 mechanic through a training kind of a thing. So if you do skill matrix, you understand where you stand. And level 4 mechanic, somebody who's also able to resell or upsell, soft sell, and even cross sell, or convert existing clients into AMCs. So put
Okay.
what the business is requiring and what the customer is requiring, and based on that, every company need to be doing a skill matrix. And again, there's a huge gap for all the trainers, consultants, coaches out there. You don't really have to come up with new theories and topics, and if you do come across, it's wonderful. But there's a lot of gaps between implementing small things, like I said, skill matrix. If you're a guy, like I said, you have one thing you're too good at, the other things can be your rest of the income generating activities. So have one single forte, and if creating skill matrix for SMEs is your forte, then left, right, center, everybody will give it to you. Implementing 5 years is your forte, then left, right, center, you're going to get a lot of references. So see practically what is needed for a business and what are the gaps. If a normal company does this, they'll grow, but they're not doing it. So how you can bridge that gap? And because that's
Okay.
when training will become a long term stuff. If I'm having a retail store, like with maybe 100 or 25 people working on sales, I want to constantly keep guiding them how to approach customers, how to suggestive selling. What is suggestive selling? Then two guys will go out, and four more people will come inside. They need to go through an orientation. So definitely, every company need to tie up with somebody and say, whoever I recruit, I'll maybe give you even 500 rupees or 1,500 rupees. but ensure your initial orientation is done. Then monthly you come for 1 day, or 3 months once you come for 1 day, and so many thousands is what will pay you. So you try to evolve at your own package, because nobody else is doing this. As a trainer, as you evolving, if you can come up with your own packages, not what you can push to the market, what is not there in the market and what the market needs. We call it as blue ocean strategy. Either some famous coach said this line: either be number one or be only one in the game.
Yeah. Sir, based out of your own experience, which way do you prefer to people? Is it good to be a partner in the company for a longer run, or just pitch in yourself, be there for some time, and then come out of the company? Which one is good for people, especially people like us who are now external trainers?
Like if you're floating your own company, partnership, see, I don't know, different people have different suggestions. Even I have a lot of clients who are having multiple partners, is running too good. Some bond that I've seen very, very strong is brothers. When they are partners, it works. There are some of my hotel clients, both Chennai and Salem, multiple areas, they're all brothers and cousins. So when they join, the bonding level is totally different. Other people, somewhere down the line, there'll be a small rift. It's my point of view, I may be wrong, but somewhere down the line, then did I only brought this client, this is my idea, all that stuff. So ask yourself, 100 years, I mean 10 years later, do you have plans to separate it or still together? So what is your envisioning and all that? Because this is not a business, this is more like a service when it comes to training and coaching. So 70%, 80% is pure margin, there's no expense at all. So if your company grows really well, future generations, everybody will try to say, put my child inside the board, let him be the chairman, let him be the managing partner, all those confusions. So make it family business, husband, wife, cool, no problem about it. Then expand. If you want,
What is
do
your
it like
view?
another. If you want, do like other companies where you bring in investors and you pay them share and then tell them tata bye bye. So you park
That's
them at
good.
that level.
What is your view for the current entrepreneurs or who are getting into this entrepreneurship journey?
Good. There is. I wouldn't say it's not like that is a good time for entrepreneurship. This is a good time for the entrepreneurship. Once you decide you want to be an entrepreneur, any time is a good time. Just ask yourself what you're too good at and what are you passionate about. You just don't get bored doing that, and what the market demands. Is there a saleable product or service in that particular area? And what are the pain points customers are having or the prospects are having? If you're able to bridge that and come up with some innovative product, the market is all yours. Always some people say, you be in a job, slowly pilot test it, then you fully leave your job and come to it. But if you're in a job and trying to do another business, you cannot be loyal to both. So be in a job, because there's nothing wrong being in a job. If the company is taking care of you really, really well, it's like intrapreneur is you're an employee but working like an entrepreneur. So your branch is like your business. Your owner is ready to invest on your branch and you can take some of the shares. If owner is treating you at that level, please don't come out, because it's like somebody else has invested you and said, if you go in loss, I will still pay you. If you make profits, I'll give you a small share, which is totally fine. But if you fail, you have totally something different, and if you want to add flavor, add value, then go for it.
Okay. What do you think about this COVID effect in business, be it L&D or any business for that matter?
COVID effect in business, definitely unavoidable. Every business is having its own effect, but again, will it really change the way business does and all that? In the long run, it's my personal opinion, no. 10
Okay.
years later, what will matter is when it is 2030, if we are again sitting in if we are meeting and if you're talking, our topic will not be about 2020, how was your business, how was my business. Our talk will be about 2025, what did you do differently, how are you able to evolve and come here. So it's all about long run. In 10 years later, what matters for your business, just look at that, because this too will pass. I know there'll be new normal and all that, but again, even this new normal will go off, and we have the great habit of forgetting. again everything will be bad. Man is a social animal. You look at Germany and all that, people are inside the car, they're partying, playing music. You talk about social distancing, we will do party in social distancing. So man is a social animal. Even now, if you go for shopping, you look at, still people are out there, the last, my personal story, I think more than 20 products, I could not digest this fact that I have ordered more than 20 products on an online shopping portal. I don't know for what, and I wouldn't call it as revenge shopping. The huge list, so people are having money. So some of my clients are into construction. Couple of my known people in my known circle wanted to buy properties. Property prices are not coming down, still sale is happening, registration is happening, everything is on. So point is, I tell people to put it into three categories. Whatever product you're selling, some people will need your product immediately and they cannot wait. It's like if you're selling a phone, somebody's phone is broken, they want to buy a phone immediately. This is immediate requirement. Some people's phone is not working properly, but they'll wait till the day that phone is totally dead. So we are only scared about this category where they are trying to postpone the purchase. This is the scary category. Still, it's okay. You try to still tell them, I am there, try to do marketing for them. There's another category. This is called I have a lot of money and I love the product. The guys who are having a lot of money right now, they are having different thoughts. Should I put my money right now and share? No, the FD rates are coming down. Why should I buy in FD? I have crores and crores of money. I have lakhs of money. Why do I need to put this money right now in bank? Maybe I'll consider buying myself a villa. I'll consider myself upgrading with a new product. I'll upgrade my laptop or whatever it is, because people who have got more money are trying to bargain, telling that, hot cash I'll give you, and they're trying to negotiate things at a better cost. So whatever you're doing, look at this category. If you're into, even if it's a training and coaching, some people will need training immediately because new staff has come. This guy don't know how to approach the market. Immediate requirement is there. There are some guys who will try to drag. Leave them, they'll come to you. There are some companies who've got a lot of money. Business is picking up left, right, center. Their website is attracting leads every day, every minute. Even as we speak, some websites are attracting leads. So they don't have a trained manpower or a CRM software which could actually do wonderful follow-up. If you have a service for that, whatever you ask, they may pay you. I'm not saying overcharge. If you have a good work, charge them because they've got the money. So split the market like this and segment and market according to them. So there is always a market out there. You just have to look for the market or create the market. As simple as that.
That's a good input on three different scenarios, sir. Sir, I've seen a lot of your videos. நிறைய இடத்துல local language, regional language use பண்றதுக்கான காரணம் என்ன? Do you think market is still wide with the local people? The regional language will still create an impact in the locality to impact on our business or to expand our business. How do you see that?
See, I would say, நான் இதை தேடி போல, அதுவா என்னை தேடி வந்துருச்சு is what I have to say, because from that MCC, Chennai culture, Bangalore, Pune and all that, I always wanted to be, talking. Again, I'm from Ooty, so people always say, Peter Radra, all that people used to say. So I just love doing a lot of programs in English. There's one insurance company that spark happened about in Tirupur. It happened for Star Health Insurance. About 350 odd people were sitting, and I did a small talk, Tamil English mixed, and then I've never seen that kind of a feedback and emotional impact. And I realized there's a huge gap, man. There are a lot of people who want to learn, but there is nobody serving. Training is not about style. It's not about, how you project yourself. It's about, if there's a gap, you need to bridge that gap. Then I realized there's a huge gap. Even now I'm doing digital coaching and all that. I'm helping entrepreneurs to scale up. I've launched a online university called jamesleadershipinternational.com, where I'm helping entrepreneurs to take their business to the next level step by step. With a lot of inputs, then I decided I will do this coaching in Tamil English mixed, local language. But again, I did lose some of my followers who are on international. We do have clients who are taking even virtual coaching from us from other locations and all. But still, நம்ம ஊர்லயே ஒரு கேப் இருக்கு. ஸோ நம்ம மக்களுக்கு நம்ம என்ன சொல்ல போறோம் அப்படின்ற ஒரு ஆங்கிள். ஸோ ஐ தாட் ஃபைன், நோ ப்ராப்ளம், ஐ வில் டூ திஸ். சில பேர் வந்து நினச்சிக்குவாங்க, என்ன ஒன்று ஃபுல்லாக தமிழில் பேசணும், இல்லை ஃபுல்லாக இங்கிலீஷில் பேசணும், என்ன ரெண்டும் நீங்கள் மிக்ஸ் பண்ணி பேசுறீங்க. பட் the kind of subject that I'm handling is like that. ஒரு ஆடிட்டர் கூட்டு வந்து ஃபுல்லாக தமிழ்லேயே நீங்கள் பேச சொல்ல முடியும்னா you cannot do. Accounting, journal, trial balance, profit and loss, அந்த மாதிரி பிஸ்னஸ்க்கு there are 100+ words. என் புக்ல கொடுத்துருக்க ஒவ்வொரு டாப்பிக்கும் நான் ஃபுல் தமிழாக்கம் கொடுத்தாலே அது மைண்ட்ல உட்காராது. கேபிஐ அப்படின்னா அது இன்டர்நேஷனல் கான்செப்ட். கேபிஐல வந்து முக்கிய திறன் குறிப்பாடுன்னு உங்களுக்கு சொல்றதுனால யுவர் அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்டிங் ஒன்லி வில் கோ டவுன்.
கரெக்ட்.
ஸோ ஐ யூஸ் டு டெல் கேபிஐ அப்படின்னா அதை பார்த்தா ஒருத்தர் வேலை செய்கிறாங்களா இல்லையான்னு தெரியுங்க, அதனால உங்கள் கம்பெனிக்கு கேபிஐ இருக்கணுங்க. ஸோ இதை சொல்றதுக்கு இன்னைக்கு மார்க்கெட்டில் யாரும் இல்லைன்றதை விட வெரி லெஸ் பீப்புள் ஆர் சேயிங் இஸ் வாட் ஐ பிலீவ். ஸோ ஐ ஆல்வேஸ் ஃபீல் திஸ் a huge market, and if you're in India you're really really blessed because I always love saying உலகத்திலேயே 25% பாப்புலேஷன் இங்கே தான் இருக்கு. இன்டர்நேஷனல் பிராண்ட்ஸ் எல்லாமே இங்கே தான் வந்து மார்க்கெட் பண்றாங்க. அண்ட் தட் டு if you're in தமிழ்நாடு, எல்லாரும் ஒரே மொழி ஏதோ ஒரு இதுல மூவில வரும்னு நினைக்கிறேன் கிளைமேக்ஸ், நம்ம எல்லாரும் ஒரே மொழி பேசுறோம், இதுக்கு மேல என்ன வேணும்? ஸோ இட்ஸ் தட் கனெக்ட் வித் சிங்கிள் லாங்குவேஜ் ஃபுல் தமிழ்நாடுக்கு நம்ம வந்து கனெக்ட் பண்ணிடலாம். ஸோ தட்ஸ் த பவர் ஓவர் ஹியர்.
So you believe the market is still there? Huge market is there in Tamil Nadu.
Huge market is there.
Okay. Because, there are a lot of people. A lot of people that I spoke just because they have not developed their communication. They still in English. So I do not want to get into this training career at all. So this will give them hope that it is not about your language. It is about your content, your delivery, and the way you impact people. You definitely have business. That's what I wanted from your end. And the reason for using this digital marketing, I think you started very early. 2 years I have seen your videos. When did you start your digital marketing, and what made you to put all your contents over digitally? How does this digital impact is in the current business as well?
See, like I said, ஒரு client success ஆகணும்னு முடிவு பண்ணிட்டா, you need to find out what will help the client to grow. So then I have certain ground rules. If somebody is taking a coaching, I want them to go through certain things. They need to agree no matter what, because that's when the growth will happen. Your training team needs to be trained. Marketing report should be like this. There should be daily marketing report, all that. So one of the fundamental stuff is you need to be able to post something on the social media on your company page. You should also get leads. More than 45 companies, both India and outside, we have helped them to generate leads multiple. So we also recommended them to other social media ad agencies. Then I realized there's so much of depth to travel. So then we actually started a digital marketing organization called SJ Brand Studio. Now it's shut down. We're not doing that because, again, like I said, have your forte, just keep going on that. I have a personal reason why I shut down that business, because I told to myself, if I do digital marketing, I'll do only for my brand, because I realized so much effort I'm putting, if I probably put it on my brand, it'll just go somewhere. But the journey was too good, because I realized after 10, also another reason, 10 years later, there will not be any digital marketing agencies. There will be, but only at high level. You know why? Digital marketing will be like an internal part of any company. So every company will have their own internal digital marketing department. So again, I'm a long run guy. I ask myself, 10 years later, will I run this business? No. So then why should I do it right now? So that's also another very strong reason why I discontinued that particular stuff. So there's so depth of information which you could do. People think digital marketing is all about just clicking boost. No. There are more than 15 different types of ads. There's something called traffic ad. There's something called event ad. There's called conversion for click, optimizing for landing page view. Be it dental, be it root canal inquiry, or villa selling inquiry, or home selling inquiry, or LED boards inquiry, or even architectural inquiry. We've helped all those companies to post ad and attract leads. So there are companies, even we were able to get them leads for even 5 rupees, 10 rupees and all that. But again, why am I saying this is because this is essential. So then I realized so much effort we are putting, and so let's rather put everything for our company, then, because level at which the data people are consuming data, screen time has increased drastically. Everybody's got a smartphone, 4G, all of that. So then you can start attracting leads very easily, right? Simple.
So you believe this digital marketing has got a greater impact, and what made you to start very early?
I don't know. I when you list down, if you do this, you will grow, then why wait? So I had to literally kind of explore and find out a lot of things. So everything, it was like self learning is what we had to say, because we were able to see the impact. We tested and we saw the result and we saw the impact. So then I started gaining a lot of conviction. We tried a lot of tools, like one thing I'll tell you. You can even find out two things. I'll tell you. If you want to open a new branch, let's say in Chennai, in Vadapalani, you can actually go to Facebook, create an audience, and click that particular age group and find out in and around Vadapalani how many people are there, how many are married, how many are not married, how many are engaged, how many are kids. So that decision you're able to take, one, and you can actually perfectly target them. And second one is, if you have an existing client database, you're having a retail store. Every day you're billing 2000 bills you're making. So within last 10 years, you have more than 4-5 lakhs database. There are even options where you can feed those database inside your marketing system, and their individual user IDs will be mapped on your marketing engine. Like if I have your email ID or phone number, I can run an ad and make you to see it no matter what. Even if you skip me,
Yeah.
I can make you see it. And that's like, man, viral. We don't do that. But again, when we started exploring, I realized there is so much of depth digital marketing has to offer. Then we started.
There is a lot of questions from the in the live lender. So
Okay.
First question was book name they've asked. I said 100 lakh. அதுக்கு நம்ம comment reply பண்ணிட்டோம். Second question was
Okay, sorry, just to cut you off. Sorry to cut you off. In case என்ன business அவங்க பண்றாங்க, அவங்க business எப்படி grow பண்ணும் அப்படினாலும், we can give them a lot of insights as well.
Okay, sure. So whoever is sending a request, you can also talk about your business and you can ask request or any idea suggestion for your business as well. What made you as a business coach? I think that we have told already what I think.
அதான் ஆக்சுவலி நான் ஒரு ட்ரெயினர் தாங்க. ட்ரெயின் பண்ணா எப்படிங்க ரிசல்ட் வருமான்னு கேட்டாங்க. இனிமேல் இந்த கேள்வி யாருமே நம்மளை பார்த்து சத்தியமா கேட்டக்கூடாது. ரிசல்ட் நான் காட்டுறேன், உங்களுக்கு என்ன ரிசல்ட் வேணும், அப்படி ஆரம்பிச்சதான் இந்த கோச்சிங். ஸோ தென் ஐ ரியலைஸ்ட், ஓகே, ஐ வில் நாட் ஒன்லி கம் அண்ட் டேக் கிளாஸஸ் ஃபார் யூ. Every week there'll be a review. So I created my own systems how to make people perform. Adon test and trial we found that, and now that's working, and that's how I evolved myself into a coach.
What is the most easiest way to attract customers?
There is no easiest. I would say, if you're the easiest way to attract customers, yes, there is the easiest way. When somebody becomes your customer, put your heart and soul for his success. From left, right, center, other customers, you'll be like a customer attracting magnet. Like I do a lot of digital marketing and sales for my coaching. There are great people. I don't do anything. They just come and they just buy. Because existing customers, I put a lot of homework, put a lot of efforts in making them successful. Somehow I've sold this. No. If somebody has bought your product, not even one guy should become a failure. So have that kind of a mindset. That's the easiest way to attract customers and expand business and grow a credible and profitable business as well.
Your suggestion for some of the small companies, micro companies, யாரெல்லாம் இப்ப டெவலப் பண்ண முடியாது, டிஜிட்டல் பிளாட்ஃபார்மை கிரியேட் பண்ண முடியாது, how can they grow in this competitive market?
Organic honey builders ன்னு கூகுள் பண்ணி பாருங்க. அவர் ஒரு கான்ட்ராக்டர், engineering பேக்ரவுண்ட் இருக்காரு, சிவில் இன்ஜினியரிங். ஸோ ஒரு வீடு கட்டணும்னா எப்படி இருக்கணும், how a site should be. எங்கெங்கிருந்தோ நாட்டிலலாம் என் வீடை நீங்க தான் கட்டணும்னு உங்களுக்கு என்கொயரி இருக்கு. எவ்வளோ காஸ்ட்? நோ காஸ்ட். ஜஸ்ட் போஸ்ட் அ வீக்லி வீடியோ அண்ட் டூ இட். சிம்பிள். இன் எவ்ரி பிஸ்னஸ் யூ நீட் டு அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்ட் வாட் கைண்ட் ஆஃப் இன்ஃபர்மேஷன் யுவர் கிளைண்ட் வில் கன்சியூம். First, people should consume your information. Then only they should buy from you. If you do this format, you'll be an authority in your particular space. Any product that you're selling. For example, even if you're selling paint, you do small 1-minute videos. முன்னாடி வந்து 5 minutes was very famous. Right now we call it as micro videos. 1 minute தான் அந்த வீடியோ இருக்கணும். நானும் இப்போ நிறைய மைக்ரோ வீடியோஸ் தான் ஒர்க் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கேன், டைட்லிங் போட்டுட்டு இருக்கோம். ஸோ paint, is it okay to scratch the paint on paste like that? What is the difference between distemper and a paint? So what does it mean by lifetime value? How to choose a painting color for inside and outside? Can a paint restrict heat flow inside a building? So இந்த மாதிரி நிறைய விஷயங்கள். For example, is painter important than painting? So இந்த மாதிரி நீங்க பார்க்கும்போது definitely some people will say, just for the painter you're going to pay 40,000 rupees. Your paint is only 30,000 rupees. You probably put better cost for the paint, because your painter is going to charge the same whatever quality you use. இந்த மாதிரி சின்ன சின்ன விஷயம் கொடுக்கும்போது ஓகே நம்ம நல்லா இருக்குன்றதுக்காக ஒரு வீடியோ கொடுக்குறாரு. ஸோ தென் நீங்க 10 கிலோமீட்டர் தள்ளி இருந்தாலும் people will come to your store and they'll buy from you. So build new audiences.
Yes, sir. Which is your favorite area? Sales, அதாவது கான்ஸ்டன்டா சேல்ஸ் புஷ் பண்ணிட்டே இருக்குது to increase our demand and to focus more on marketing, just to create an impact on the customer just by doing a marketing, or word of mouth selling. Which area would you focus, or would you suggest to people?
I would suggest you need to do all three, but first every company should have a proper funnel. Funnel அப்படின்றது like when your diesel or petrol was over, we all understood how a funnel will work. Now you pour kerosene or fuel, then it will come like that. So you have a funnel. Anybody who comes in first, they'll see my ad, or they'll see my store, or they will watch a free video, or they'll just look at a pamphlet. We'll put our pamphlet in a nearest apartment. We'll distribute something. So that's basic. From there, somebody asks a query, we will give them some advanced information and we'll give them some small offer. And then from there, we will convert people to a bigger project. So have that kind of a funnel. So you do your marketing based on which level people are at. So minimum 3 stages should be there for your funnel. So then your marketing is all the time, you're marketing for people. You're trying to attract people from different places. Even your website is a wonderful marketing tool. Even if you don't have a website, Google My Business line. If you're not there, you're out of business. And even Google My Business has now enabled the chat option. A visitor can come and ask chat. So get reviews from people, get 5-star rating from people. So when anybody searches around you, they'll find your business. Then they can chat with you. From there, you start your funnel.
Freelancer or a full-timer? What would you suggest?
Both has its own plus minus. I would definitely say my call is for full-timer. Again, even if you're freelancer, you need to do that full-time is what I mean. Whatever you're doing, just do one thing hardcore. Otherwise, that's also another reason why I shut down my digital marketing company. Because when people think of James Vineeth, I want to think of only training, coaching, growth, business development, that level. So he will also do digital marketing, he will also do etc. Then you're damaging your own brand. So do one thing. It's like inch breadth, mile depth. That's the way your business should be. But you should also be able to adjust. Suddenly during COVID season, in the Mari season varumbodhu, you should be able to evolve. Like I am evolving through digital right now. So the Mari, you need to be able to evolve. Like some people would be into event management la irupanga or airline la irupanga. So you also need to evolve. In the season la enna pandrathu, SpiceJet mari flights la vandu even passenger la they were doing cargo. So can you do cargo booking? Can you do logistics booking right now for a short while? Can you also kind of expand into event management? You don't have to do complete event management. Just giving a 1,000 rupees handmade paper crafted bouquet to somebody on their anniversary and say happy anniversary. Can you just charge 1,500 rupees for that? So come up with some innovative stuff where right now you're surviving in the market.
See, there were periods that we give a product and we get product, and then the organized retail has come, and then digital marketing has come, e-commerce has come. What is the way forward, sir? 5 years, 10 years, which you focus on or you're working on? Way forward 10 years, what will happen?
See, what I believe is there's nothing new. Always the same thing will keep on coming. It's like bell bottom again will come in style.
It's coming
again
the pencil.
Correct. Again the pencil fit will come. Then again the long hair would come. Again the spike will come. Then the undercut would come. The same thing. But when it comes to how the business will run, still retail will be a huge thing. Nobody will come out of retail, but the online will really grow fast. And if you're able to compete with the corporate guys. See, one thing that we're all scared about is if you sell online, if the customer doesn't want to return, can you take that risk? You need to find a way how you can bridge that and be able to be how you can be competitive. Generate inquiries online, convert in store, or send product to them, or come online. So it should be like pre-orientation, pre-sales pitch about the company should all be done virtually, and then people come to your store with a buying decision. Then the window shopping people will come, go, all that is secondary. But way forward is you create your audience, and some kind of a pre-filtering should be done, and then they need to know who you are, and then they should come to you for buying. So you need to balance digital, also be able to do direct B2C, business to customer selling, Also try B2B. Nothing wrong with that. But again, the B2B will have its own pluses and minus. Payment, all the delays will be there. But if you're having B2B and also doing B2C, many people will get caught by doing in the same brand. So this is not cheating, but you need to try a different brand. So if you somebody is buying your product from your dealer, but from you, if the pricing difference, then the dealer will not be happy selling your product. So you may need to create a new product brand and then sell directly to people, maybe at a premium costing. So a little bit of strategic alignment will be way forward. Definitely, every business will grow, but just that you need to find how people are making that purchase decision, buying decision.
Okay, sir. Sir, we are running out of time. I'll quickly try to push off my questions. Can I take another 15 minutes of yours or 10 minutes?
10 minutes do can, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Virtual training or classroom training, which one is going to be there in future?
I would say that, again, like I said, everything you need to evolve in a model. But what I feel will be a very, very strong model is virtual training and classroom facilitation. There's going to be a new culture. It's called facilitation. Facilitator is, as a trainer, it's all very difficult for us to practice. I should not speak. I should only give scenarios, get the crowd to share, increase that sharing. So it's like you learn my curriculum, maybe 2 3 days. Then after 1 or 2 months, you come in for a live meetup. Like you, all these guys have learned the curriculum and they have come inside. Now they're going to be sharing about results. I took this action. I took that action. This is what I found. Wow, that's a good way to look at it. That's a new dimension. So you enrich the room with great sharing, because human beings want that physical connect. They want it. So if you do a combo of this, it'll be great. Level 1 is virtual. Level 2 is live.
Okay, whenever there is a challenge, how James Vineet approaches challenges?
Practical way is what I feel. If I'm going through that, what will be a good way? If somebody is coming up with a solution, what will be a good solution? And that solution should not harm or damage anybody. Like when I'm suggesting a solution, if you're the one who's paying, if you're the one who's getting the benefited, if you're the one who's giving the services, there's got to be some kind of a win-win for all of them. Then it should also be at par with the industry standards.
What motivates you every day?
What motivates me? I have my own way of starting my day. I start my day, I spend time in prayer, then I have a morning walk, then I put my to-do list, then kickstart the day, have a quick chat with my spouse and kid, and then I start my day. So
if at all you want to suggest book for the people, especially for the trainers, entrepreneurs, the young people, what book would you suggest apart from 100 Acts?
for speakers, I've not really come across. I'm not a book guy. I love watching through videos. For business growth, I do follow a lot of books. To be a speaker, I would say, there are a lot of people who are doing digital coaching and mentoring programs. Maybe attend one of those webinars and see how. I'm not doing that, but again, you can attend one of those webinars and see what they have to offer. They'll actually give you a roadmap. If you're a trainer and if you want to build up, scale yourself as a trainer, there'll be somebody actually doing that in a wonderful way. They'll give you all the nuances and all that. So look at the webinar. If you feel the content is really good, truly great, then probably buy. Otherwise, you have to kind of evolve yourself as a trainer.
Okay, what is the purpose of living? One word.
Make a difference. Mad.
Okay. So thanks a lot for accepting our invite, and you have thrown a lot of energy. You have transferred a lot of energy into the show, and I liked all your activities for the past, and I will sure that we will be your follower in the next future as well. And thanks for being part of this I2I Skills program, and thanks for accepting our invite as well.
Thank you very much for hosting this. God bless you. Thanks.
You want to say something to the audience? You can say.
Something that I love saying all the time is the learners will not grow. The action takers will grow. So it's not about how much you learn, it's how much you're going to really implement is what really matters. So be an implementer. Also, good video by it's called The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. It says the crux of the video is எல்லாருக்கும் பணக்காரனா இருக்கும்னு ஆசை, but only 5% of the people are actually taking action. So be that 5% of the world population who are action takers. Okay, so be an action taker. I wish you skyrocketing growth. வானளாவிய வெற்றியை நீங்கள் அடைய I wish you. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thanks, Jason.